Hey, what's up? Welcome to Degen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts like the charts behind me, which are of cannabis stocks. And so I'm going to be going over a list of them. The list is on the left, and I'm going to be including timestamps to each ticker down below so you can easily skip to the one that you're interested in. But I would encourage listening to the whole video because I will be going over a number of levels that I do think are pretty interesting. And I am going to be starting here with SNDL, ticker symbol SNDL, as I record this on Saturday, May 4th, after the market has closed on Friday, May 3rd, with SNDL closing at a price of $2.35, being up just about 3.5% on the day. And I should note that they do have earnings coming up on May 9th, which I believe is Thursday, and I will be able to stream that at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. So make sure you tune in if you're interested to learn about the company and what's going on with them. And that stream will actually be after another stream. I'll be doing Plug Power at 8:30 a.m. that morning. So it's going to be a jam-packed day. So make sure you tune in, like the videos, comment your thoughts. I do appreciate it. But anyways, getting into the chart here. So I've just done these 3 Fibonacci retracements. I've basically done these with all of the tickers here because I do think it's interesting that they have been able to predict a lot of levels, or at least some of the levels from them highlighted where price went to. And so this orange retracement here goes from the low back in the middle of February 13th, and then up to the high hit on April 4th. And I do want to note that we have seen this big up move in all of the cannabis stocks, and I do feel like we are seeing another big move up like that now with them. That included back here a number of consolidation events or bull flags, and we are seeing that again. And so I do think all of these stocks will be rallying higher, surpassing the highs that were hit at the beginning of April. And I do think that earnings will likely propel the stock higher. But, if it is looking weak, if it is below some of these levels, there might be a pullback. And if there is, I do think that would be a dip buying opportunity because I do think that SNDL, as well as all these others, will be going much higher. But anyways, so this Fibonacci retracement, the levels that I have highlighted are the 618 and the 65% level. Those represent the golden pocket, so that range is commonly returned to, and those levels were returned to here on April 17th. That did mark the bottom. There was consolidation crossing both of those levels, and that was a great dip buying opportunity. And so from this yellow retracement, I have the 786 level marked, which is at $2.47.3, with the high hit on April 30th of $2.52. So that was a pretty good predictor for the top. And so now that we have hit that top and we are consolidating, I did want to point out that we have hit the 382, which is at $2.22.6. I do think we will be consolidating above that level, which we have been, and we've actually closed on Friday above the 236 at $2.33.8. So hopefully we're able to hold the 236, but if we do pull back some, the 382 is there to act as support. Hopefully we can hold both of those levels before earnings and launch higher, like to above the high from the 30th, which was $2.52, or above the high from the 4th, which was $2.67. I do think the stock price will be going a lot higher. And then the next on the list here, I'm going to go over Cronos Group, ticker symbol CRON, because they also have earnings coming up on May 9th, but unfortunately their earnings call is at 8:30 when I'll be doing Plug Power's earnings call, so I unfortunately won't be able to cover it, but hopefully this chart does give you some guidance of levels where the price might be going to. And so just like what I did with SNDL, I have this orange Fibonacci retracement here, and price does look like it returned to the golden pocket here between $2.27.5 and $2.31. The low was actually $2.17, so that represented a great dip buying opportunity. But then how do we predict this top over here? And so really, the best way that I could do that with this chart was just going from the 100% retracement, or the top here, which was $2.99. We hit a high on April 30th of $2.98. And so that did represent a good opportunity to trim before this pullback that we're seeing, having returned to the 382, which is at a price of $2.67. But then I do have these other levels to the downside marked in case price does drop lower. They are there for you if you'd like to explore them if price does go lower. I don't really think price would be going much lower than $2.57, where I have this white line marked, and that does correspond with these levels back here that I'd gone over in previous videos, also representing, not only support over here, but resistance over here. So I do think that could be acting as support again if we do drop below the 382. And that level also does correspond with the 50% level at $2.57.5. But then there are also these levels to the downside. But I do think that cannabis stocks overall will be moving higher. So I don't really think it will be going lower than the 50% level, especially with earnings coming up. I do think that could be launching it higher above $3 a share. But if it does pull back following earnings, these levels should act as some guidance. Okay, and then now I'm going to just go through the list alphabetically from the top, starting with Aurora Cannabis, ticker symbol ACB, which closed on Friday at a price of $6.74, being down about 3.3% on the day. And so just like the other two tickers, I've done this orange Fibonacci retracement. However, for this one, ACB didn't pull back to the golden pocket. It actually just pulled back to the 50% level, which is at a price of $5.83 over the course of a few days, going below that level with a low of $5.44 hit on April 17th. So that was, again, a great dip buying opportunity. And then to predict the high here, the way that I did that, because this was such a shallow pullback, I couldn't really get any guidance other than the high from April 4th, which was $8.88. Price clearly went above that, went above $9 a share to $9.35. And so I actually took a step back for this one to do this retracement coming from the high that was hit on September 12th. And so coming down from there to the low from March 14th. I've got these three levels here, one being the 786, which was just a little bit higher than the high of 935, being at a price of $9.65. But then the golden pocket, this actually, served as good guidance for both of these tops as being, good levels to trim at before these pullbacks. And now, I do think that we will be seeing rallies higher. And so looking at this more recent retracement, going from the low of the 17th up to the high hit on the 30th, we can see that price has pulled all the way down to the 65% level, just below that golden pocket there, closing on Friday below it. But so I do think that these levels, $6.81 being the 65% retracement and $6.93 being the 618, it will be good to see closes above those levels. However, if price does go lower, the 786 is at $6.28. So it is good to brace for that, but ideally we see it rally and reclaim the 50% retracement at $7.39. But now moving on to the next one, Canopy Growth Corporation, ticker symbol CGC, which closed on Friday at $10.24, being down only about 1%, a little bit less than 1% on the day. And so looking at these retracements, we can see this orange one, price did pull back to the 618 at a price of $6.12, having hit a low on the 17th of $6.09. So that being a phenomenal dip buying opportunity for this stock that has been performing very, very well, going up on the 30th almost 80% that day. So, this has just been such a great performer. Out of all of these tickers on the list, this has been the leader as far as I can tell. But then looking at this retracement here, because it blew past the high from the 4th, which was at a price of $11.57, I had to include the 1618 extension going up to a price of $14.96, which was just 4 cents above the high on the 30th. So that was a great predictor for the top there. But, who could have expected that? It was a pretty remarkable move on that day. But then now looking at the downside from this white retracement here, it does look like price closed just below the 50% level at $10.50. So hopefully we can reclaim that. But if price does go lower, I do have the golden pocket down here ranging from $9.18 up to $9.46. But then below that, the 786 is at $7.98, just below $8 a share. But realistically, I do think that this one will be going higher. Just like the other ones, I do think that this will be eclipsing $15 a share. But, we're first going to have to see some consolidation, stair-stepping our way up. Okay, and then the next ticker on the list is MSOS. This is the Cannabis Stock ETF, and this one did close at $9.67 on Friday, being up about 0.5% on the day. And so looking at these retracements, we can see that from the orange one, the golden pocket was a great predictor for the bottom. It actually did reside in that range and went a little bit lower than it on the 26th, hitting a low of $8.32. So all of this consolidation here, great dip buying opportunities there before the rally up on the 30th. And just like with ACB, because this high was only a little bit higher than the high on the 4th, Fibonacci retracement or extension was not useful for predicting the high on the 30th, which was at $11.37. But the best way that I saw to kind of predict that was based on these highs, going from the high hit on February 2nd up to the high on April 4th. And so from those two pivot points, we do get, the best approximation of this high. And so that would have been a great level to trim at before accumulating back at these lower levels. Now that we've seen this pullback, we have been residing below the 50% level at $9.84. Hopefully we can reclaim that, but if not, the golden pocket ranges from $9.39 to 49 cents. And so that might be a great level to be accumulating more shares. But of course, the 786 is lower at $8.97, just below $9 a share. And then now moving on to the 2x leverage cannabis ETF, which is ticker symbol MSOX, which closed on Friday at a price of $5.27. And so with this one, because it's 2x leverage, it's a little bit more volatile. This one actually pulled back to the 786 at a price of $4.37, having crossed that level over the course of multiple days, that representing a great dip buying opportunity before running up to $7.95, being up just over 50% on April 30th. And so because that did surpass the high from April 4th, which was $7.48, I have this yellow line drawn at $7.73, which was this prior high from February 2nd. So that would have been a good predictor for this top. And then now looking at levels to the downside, we can see from this Fibonacci retracement, price is currently trading below the golden pocket. So, just like I said, because it's 2x leverage, it's more volatile, not only to the upside, but also to the downside. So being below these levels The next one to the downside is the 786, which is at a price of $4.96. So just below $5 a share. Might be a great dip buying opportunity down there, but hopefully we can reclaim the golden pocket ranging from $5.47 to 60 cents before moving higher. And then now I'm going to flip over to Tilray Brands, ticker symbol TLRY, which is, my favorite of all of these because I do hold it. And, from this one, I actually didn't find the orange Fibonacci retracement to be that useful when predicting the bottom here, but I have gone over $1.70 in previous videos marked by this yellow line. And so that, as it turns out, was a great level to dip by. And so hopefully you all were accumulating down there as I was. However, I could have, of course, been more aggressive with it. But before I continue on, I should note that Tilray closed on Friday at a price of $2.10, being up almost 4% on the day. And so for predicting the high here, we can see this yellow Fibonacci retracement with that golden pocket, perfectly predicting the top here. So that ranged from a price of $2.47 to 51 cents. And we actually see the high on the 30th being $2.51.5, having moved up almost 40% on that day. And so now looking to the downside where price might be consolidating, it does look like we have closed below the 382, which is at a price of $2.18.5. But we are now, as of Friday's close, above $2.08.3, which is the 50% level. So hopefully we can hold that before moving higher. But then, of course, if we do not, the golden pocket ranges from about $2.95 to 98 cents. And that actually was, the low from May 1st, hitting a low of $1.96. So perfectly going to that level would have been a great dip buy there. But, if that doesn't hold and we do break lower, the 786 is at $1.83.5. So, that might be an even better dip buying level. But I do think with all of these, that price has been rallying for a second round with the good news that's been coming out going from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. I think there's going to be a lot more great news, whether it's from earnings or legalization around the elections, stuff like that. So I think that all of these will be going much higher. But I also do want to note and caution that because we have been seeing consolidation following down moves, it is possible that with all of these, we are seeing bearish consolidation and we will be seeing moves to the downside. And if that is the case, I think that represents great dip buying opportunities because I think all of these will be going much higher later in the year. I think it's going to be a great year for cannabis stocks. And so that's what I'm looking forward to, accumulating on dips and, just being happy on rips. But, those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks a lot for watching.